Remember, friends, G.K. Chesterton said, "That which is ridiculous deserves to be ridiculed." So, the militant homosexuals, true to form, are protesting and screaming their lungs out in Arizona because the state legislature there passed a bill that alters religious freedom to include the right of a person or a business for religious reasons to refuse to do business with another person or group if what that other group or person stands for is offensive to their religious beliefs. All right, at first blush, doesn't seem that bad to me. All right, so I asked in the last segment that list of questions about the synagogue, the black church, the Greek Orthodox Church. All right, so let's have the follow-up question. I'm assuming, by the way, that you said no. None of those religious facilities should be compelled by law to rent their facility to show these films or to have these rallies that are offensive to their religion and their religious beliefs and their religious heritage. Okay? All right, you still with me? Here we go. So, we voted right on the churches and the temples, and the government says you do not have to rent your religious facility or any part of it to any of these groups whose beliefs and practices you find offensive to your religion. Ah, that's great. So everyone breathes a sigh of relief and everyone goes home and everyone's happy, except for those people who wanted to rent the facility. By golly, they're going to have their way. So what do? Well, they're clever. Those skinheads, they go to the owner of the Jewish deli. It's the guy who goes to that very synagogue. He was the ringleader who wouldn't let them rent the building. And they go to the deli owner, a fine kosher deli, and they say, "We'd like you to provide Reuben sandwiches for us over at the Motel 6, where we're going to show Triumph of the Will." Should the owner of the deli be compelled by law to sell them sandwiches? Or the black church. The black pastor stands up and says, "This is Victory, Ku Klux Klan, have nothing going on here." And they leave, and one of his deacons owns a coffee shop. And the Ku Klux Klan comes and says, "We want you to provide coffee and donuts down the street at the Holiday Inn for us when we show the rise of a nation." Should he be forced by law to sell the coffee and donuts to them? Or how about the Greek Orthodox Church? One of the members there has a wonderful Greek restaurant. I love feta cheese omelets with spinach, and some of those Greek spices. And the Muslims say, "We want you to cook us goat kebabs. And we want some of the best Greek food you've got. And we're going to talk down the street at a hotel about not only the Ottoman Empire and about Hagia Sophia, but we're going to talk about the glories of the 400-year occupation of Greece by the Muslims and how wonderful it was to not hear a single church bell ringing, because church bells are against the law in Muslim lands. We want you to bring us the food for that rally." Should that owner be compelled by law to do it? The Catholic Church. This is just a poor, moderately successful, but she's a 65-year-old lady. She's got a reputation for making the best soups in the world. And they say, "We want you to sell us your soup and put it right alongside this vat of urine where we've got this crucifix immersed in urine. And then we're going to roll tape for the Last Temptation of Christ." Should she be forced by law to do it? Or the Metropolitan the Metropolitan Community Church, the homosexual church. These Christians, diehards, they want to go to Stonewall Inn, where the Stonewall riots happened in New York City. And they want to rent the facility for 3 days to hold a 3-day conference on making it a criminal act for two men to engage in homosexual sex, because the book of Leviticus and the book of Deuteronomy say that sex between two men is an abomination that will bring the judgment of God on a nation. And the people who run Stonewall are members of the Metropolitan Community Church. Should they be compelled by law to let Christians rent the place? I can hear them saying, "Just try it. We'll beat them with baseball bats. We'll start another riot like we did in the 70s. How about the Hindu temple? Should the farmers be able to go to the Hindu person and say, "Look, we know you're not going to kill a cow, but we're going to butcher Shiva. We're going to have a great beef barbecue. And we want you to bring some of your Hindu delicacies. The vegetarian ones, we get it. But we want you to come and bring them so that we can serve them while we eat this cow and talk about the benefits of eating beef and how the idea of a sacred cow is ludicrous. Should the owner of that Hindu restaurant be compelled by law to take food to them? Last but not least, our devout Muslim friends. They've got a restaurant where they serve falafel. Oh, I love falafel. And the devout Christians who want another crusades to break the back of Islam, they want to show this double feature that I mentioned, and they want the Muslims to bring falafel and goat and various Muslim delicacies. And I've traveled in different countries in the Middle East, and there is some good Islamic food, really good. Should those Muslim businessmen be compelled to bring that food to this rally at a restaurant, or rather at a hotel, especially if there's just some pork on the side, right? Maybe some bacon and a pig there with an apple in its mouth. Should they be compelled by law to do it or face civil or maybe even criminal charges? Should all of these people, for refusing to do with their business what their church or their synagogue or their religious facility won't do, should all of these individuals face civil sanctions, the threat of lawsuits, maybe even some criminal act down the road? Should they be facing that because they want to personally live out what is taught inside of their religious building? Yes or no? Look at me. You know darn well the answer is no. You people at Huffington Post and Young Turks and Jezebel and Right Wing Watch, you are despicable hypocrites. You know that if this was the reason that this law was being passed, you would support it. But because it's that special class, those newly protected homosexuals who have been the victim of so much horrible persecution, we've got to allow them to compel businesses who find this behavior repugnant and offensive. We've got to have the force of law behind us because we are determined to make all of you accept our lifestyle, accept us, mainstream it, teach it to your kids. All right, I'll stop ranting and raving. The bottom line is this. You're hypocrites. You are pathetic hypocrites. And this is the voice of resistance. And you can take your hypocrisy back to the hot place where it came from.